Ozzy Osbourne, a legendary figure in rock music, is known for his electrifying energy, unforgettable voice, and decades-long influence in heavy metal. From his early days as the frontman of Black Sabbath to his successful solo career and rise as a reality TV star, Ozzy has remained a significant force in both music and pop culture. Fans have followed his tumultuous journey through fame, chaos, and numerous comebacks, but now, Ozzy has finally opened up about his ongoing health struggles, revealing something truly tragic. Before the fame, the bat-biting antics, and sold-out arenas, John Michael Osborne was just a kid growing up in Aston, a working-class neighborhood in Birmingham, England. Born in 1948, Ozzy came from humble beginnings, the fourth of 6 children, raised in a tiny home with little to no luxury. Life was tough, simple, and noisy, an environment that naturally nurtured heavy metal. Ozzy struggled in school with undiagnosed dyslexia and bullying, finding solace in music, particularly the Beatles, and after hearing She Loves You, he was inspired to pursue music seriously in his late teens. Ozzy's big break came when he teamed up with guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward. Initially named Earth, they later changed their band's name to Black Sabbath, which captured the dark, heavy sound they sought. Their debut album in 1970 was met with confusion, but Ozzy's haunting voice paired with Tony's thunderous riffs struck a chord with listeners. Black Sabbath became the foundation of a new genre, and Ozzy became its iconic voice, shaping rock music with albums like Paranoid, Master of Reality, and Volume 4. Behind the scenes, however, Ozzy's personal struggles with alcohol and drugs intensified as his fame grew. Despite his wild antics and larger-than-life persona, the pressures took a toll. In 1979, after years of internal band conflict, Ozzy was fired from Black Sabbath. It could have marked the end, but it instead sparked a new chapter in his career. With Sharon, his soon-to-be wife and manager, by his side, Ozzy launched a solo career that skyrocketed with albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, delivering hits like Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley. Ozzy's fame expanded beyond music, earning him the title of Prince of Darkness. His outrageous stunts, including biting a bat's head off on stage, his public feuds, breakdowns, and reality TV appearances, only added to his mystique. Through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, he remained a rock fixture, but beneath the surface, the toll of constant touring, addiction, and the demands of fame began to show. Despite it all, Ozzy pushed forward, because that's what he had always done. His solo career wasn't just a comeback, it was a full transformation. After being ousted from Black Sabbath, many doubted his ability to go solo. But Sharon believed in him when few others did. With her guidance, Ozzy delivered Blizzard of Oz, featuring the iconic Crazy Train. His new band, including guitar virtuoso Randy Rhoads, brought fresh energy to his music, leading to widespread adoration. But behind the music, Ozzy's struggles with addiction deepened. The pressures of living up to his madman persona only intensified. In 1982, tragedy struck when Randy Rhoads died in a plane crash while on tour. The loss devastated Ozzy. Randy wasn't just a bandmate but a close friend and a calming influence in Ozzy's chaotic life. After Randy's death, Ozzy's downward spiral accelerated, marked by escalating drinking, arrests, and hospitalizations. Yet, the music never stopped, and Sharon remained by his side, becoming not just his manager but the anchor holding him together. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Ozzy continued to release albums and tour, with No More Tears in 1991 becoming another anthem for fans. His fanbase grew even further, especially among younger generations who discovered him through MTV, late-night shows, and the Osbournes reality series. The show offered an intimate look at the man behind the rock star image, funny, confused, gentle, and unpredictable. However, the public's perception of Ozzy, often portrayed as a stumbling, mumbling figure on TV, overlooked deeper health struggles. The effects of his past lifestyle, combined with the physical toll of years of touring, were becoming undeniable. As the years went on, Ozzy's health deteriorated. His hands trembled, he fell more frequently, and canceled shows became more common. Fans grew concerned, but Ozzy continued to deflect, maintaining the persona of the indestructible rock star. but even legends have their limits. Slowly, Ozzy began to confront his own vulnerabilities. The man who once roared across stadiums was now listening to doctors and counting his steps just to walk across the room. And just when it seemed like he had finally come to terms with his health, the ground began to shift beneath him once again. For years, Ozzy Osbourne kept pushing forward, even as his health began to deteriorate. He would cancel one show but reschedule 3 more, fall on stage, get up, and keep performing. But in recent years, things started to change, not just physically. Ozzy became more silent, not speaking much in interviews, to fans, or the media. In 2019, he revealed that a serious fall at home had worsened old injuries from a 2003 ATV accident, requiring surgery and a slow recovery. Then, in early 2020, he stunned everyone with the announcement that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological disorder. This wasn't the kind of news fans were used to hearing from Ozzy, who was known for his strength and wild energy. This time, there were no gimmicks. Ozzy was visibly shaken when he shared the news and admitted he didn't know what the future held. Despite the diagnosis, Ozzy tried to stay active, releasing new music and talking about recording again. He even hinted at a tour, though many doubted he could handle it. Behind the scenes, he was undergoing treatments in Switzerland, relying on his family for support, and holding on to hope for improvement. But as time passed, the silence returned. His public appearances became less frequent, and Sharon occasionally provided updates, but Ozzy himself remained quiet. He appeared frail in photos, thinner, and more distant. Rumors began circulating. Was this the end? Would Ozzy ever return? Those close to him insisted he was still fighting, that he had good days and bad days, but even on his best days, things didn't look the same. Ozzy had to move carefully, needed help walking, couldn't stand for long, and performing live, once second nature, now required intense planning. Despite these challenges, Ozzy never gave up on the dream of performing again. He often said music gave him a reason to live, not for fame or money, but for connection. The stage was the only place he truly felt alive, and he wasn't ready to say goodbye. But as the months passed, that dream seemed increasingly out of reach. Tour dates were announced, then quietly canceled. Appearances were planned, then dropped. Each time, fans held on to hope, and each time, the reality became harder to ignore. The man who once roared louder than anyone was growing quieter every day. Still, in rare interviews, Ozzy repeated his mantra, "I'm not done yet," but his body didn't seem to agree. He could barely walk without help, was in and out of the hospital, talked less, smiled less, and began retreating from the public eye. Those close to him described a man in deep reflection, not bitter but tired. There were days he couldn't get out of bed and moments when he questioned whether he'd ever perform again. For someone like Ozzy, this was heartbreaking. And yet, amidst the silence, something was slowly taking shape. Ozzy had been working on something personal, something big, a final act. In early 2025, a trusted friend let slip that Ozzy wasn't done yet. The simple sentence sent shockwaves through fans. Was Ozzy preparing for a comeback or a final goodbye? Whispers began circulating that Ozzy had been spending time in the studio, not to record, but to rehearse, not for a tour, but for something symbolic. It wasn't confirmed, but longtime friends and collaborators were spotted at his home, and production managers, old bandmates, and crew members were reportedly contacted. Finally, Ozzy spoke up. In early 2025, after years of silence and concern, Ozzy appeared on camera at home. Surrounded by album covers, photos from decades of touring, and the sound of medical equipment, he looked different, slower, more fragile. This wasn't the Prince of Darkness who once captivated audiences from the stage. This was a man at the end of a long, difficult battle. For years, Ozzy kept his health struggles private. Whispers about his condition had followed him since his neck injury in 2019, which left him with serious nerve damage. Parkinson's disease had been confirmed, and after multiple surgeries and setbacks, he stopped performing live altogether. Fans held on to hope, but each cancelled appearance spoke volumes. This time, there was no denying the truth. Ozzy admitted the pain he felt every day, how moving freely had become impossible, and how, despite therapy and medical help, he knew he would never return to the way things were. He had pushed through as much as he could, but now his limits were clear. Yet, even with all of this, there was one thing he couldn't let go of: his connection to his fans. For over 5 decades, they had supported him through every phase of his life, from Black Sabbath to solo tours, scandals, and comebacks. And now, at the end, he felt he owed them something. He shared his final plan. He wanted to perform one last time, not a farewell tour, but a single, final concert, a way to say goodbye to the fans who had always been there for him. Doctors warned him that even one show could be dangerous, but Ozzy was determined to make it happen. Then came the photo that broke the internet: Ozzy in a hospital bed, eyes closed, surrounded by machines. People wondered if it was a goodbye, but the truth was, the photo was taken months earlier, after one of his surgeries. He was stable now, but fragile. In a quiet, honest admission, Ozzy confirmed what fans had feared: his body couldn't take much more. Walking was difficult. Singing was harder. But then, unexpectedly, he said, "I want to do one last show. Just one. Not for the industry. Not for the records. For the fans. I want it to be my goodbye forever." Those words hit like a thunderclap. After years of decline, of hope and worry, Ozzy Osbourne had finally spoken. He wasn't planning a comeback, he was planning a farewell. This would be his final chapter, one last concert, one last chance to stand under the lights and scream into the darkness. Black Sabbath has announced what's expected to be their final performance with the original lineup: Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. The show, titled Back to the Beginning, will take place on July 5 at Villa Park in Birmingham, England, their hometown. It will be the first time in 20 years that the original members will perform together. The concert will feature other iconic rock and metal acts, including Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Hailstorm, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Mastodon, and a special supergroup led by Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine. Ozzy will perform a short solo set before joining Black Sabbath for their final performance. Given the band members' ages and Ozzy's health struggles, this concert will be their true farewell. It marks an emotional moment for both fans and the band, honoring their roots and legacy. And just like that, the stage is set. Ozzy Osbourne, the man who defied time, fate, and even death itself, is ready to speak once more, not with words, but with music. After everything, the chaos, the fame, the survival, Ozzy is prepared to end things on his terms, not with silence, but with a final, honest farewell. What comes next? Ozzy Osbourne's health revelation and announcement of his final concert have sent shockwaves through the music world and beyond. Fans, fellow musicians, and critics have expressed deep respect and sadness, reflecting on the legacy of the man who helped shape heavy metal history. Social media has been flooded with messages of support, memories, and gratitude. For many, it feels like the end of an era. The music community acknowledges the courage it takes for Ozzy to share his struggles so openly. Parkinson's disease is a relentless condition affecting millions, but few public figures speak about it with such raw honesty. Ozzy's decision to confront his illness publicly raises awareness and brings new attention to the challenges faced by those battling neurological disorders. Behind the scenes, preparations for the final concert are intensifying. The team is working hard to ensure that the event is both safe and meaningful. Adjustments are being made to accommodate Ozzy's physical limitations, including shorter set times and provisions for performing while seated. The goal is to celebrate his career, honor his impact, and provide closure, not just for Ozzy, but for his devoted fans worldwide. Sharon Osbourne, his wife and longtime manager, plays a crucial role in supporting him throughout this final chapter. Her unwavering commitment to his health and legacy remains a guiding force, helping organize the concert and manage his care. She ensures that, while the show may be smaller in scale, it will still carry the powerful spirit of Black Sabbath and Ozzy's solo work. Iconic metal bands from around the world will join Ozzy in saying his final goodbye. All profits will go to Parkinson's research and local children's hospitals, adding even more significance to the event. This final performance will be a celebration of Ozzy's long career, offering him an opportunity to give back to causes close to his heart. For Ozzy, the months ahead are about more than the last show. They represent a chance to find peace and spend time with family, after decades on the road and battling illness. This moment offers reflection and preparation for life beyond the spotlight. The announcement has sparked conversations about health and aging among rock stars, many of whom face similar challenges privately. Ozzy's story reminds everyone that even icons are human, vulnerable, determined, and full of contradictions. As the concert date draws closer, the world watches and waits. This is not just a performance, it is a goodbye, forever, a closing chapter in the life of a man who changed music history and touched millions. Whatever happens next, Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is secure, and this final act only makes it more poignant. Is Ozzy Osbourne the most influential person in metal history? Let us know in the comments.